The parent company of Chrysler has filed a federal lawsuit against the United Auto Workers Union for threatening to strike. In its lawsuit filed last week, Stellantis says a strike authorization vote violates the contract they reached last year.
Stellantis shares falling after the CEO, Carlos Tavares, resigned abruptly and filled a bow.
The situation at Stellantis is nothing short of chaos. The company, home to big names like Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Chrysler, is in serious trouble. Sales have taken a major hit, and their global earnings, which heavily rely on the North American market, have dropped by a shocking 48% in just the first half of this year.
Had become. The main issue, though, was that sales and profits at the company sharply declined this year, as well as the company's share price, and Tavares' single-track mindedness about containing costs and reducing margins had irked many people.
This isn't just a small dip, it's a massive collapse. And now, the pressure is mounting like never before. Some are even wondering if this could be the beginning of the end for these iconic brands. But the problems don't stop there. Stellantis isn't just struggling with declining sales. There's also internal conflict shaking the company to its core. Poor decision-making has become a pattern, and it's left customers, employees, and even industry experts scratching their heads. The challenges are piling up, and it feels like one bad move after another. What makes this situation even more alarming is how it could affect the entire auto industry. Stellantis isn't just another car company, it's a giant with a massive influence. When brands like Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Chrysler are in trouble, it sends shockwaves across the market. What will happen to the workers? What about the loyal customers who have trusted these brands for decades? This isn't just about mismanagement or bad choices, it's about something much deeper. Stellantis seems to be at a crossroads, and their decisions now could change everything. The question is, what exactly is going on behind the scenes? And how will it impact not only Stellantis, but the entire automotive world? Let's dive into the full story and uncover the truth behind this shocking announcement. What's happening with Stellantis is part of a bigger problem in the car market, and unfortunately, it's the customers who are paying the price. The worst part?
Most part of the middle classes will not be able to pay for those new car sales. So we lose the customer, we lose the customer base, and then we have to shrink the company, which is going to create, of course, social issues.
It might already be too late to fix things. These issues have been building up since the pandemic. Even now, new car sales haven't returned to where they were before the world shut down. While many industries are bouncing back, the auto industry is still struggling to regain its momentum. Stellantis in particular is feeling the heat more than others. Why is this so important? The numbers are hard to ignore. Sales for Stellantis brands like Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler have taken a huge hit over the last 5 years. How bad is it? Jeep, for instance, has seen a shocking 39% drop in sales. And Dodge? Their numbers have fallen by an unbelievable 67% since their best year back in 2013. Even Jeep, once a leader in the market, is down 44% from its peak in 2018, selling just over 642,000 vehicles in 2023, their lowest numbers in more than a decade. These struggles are creating a ripple effect. Dealerships are feeling the pressure as customers look for other options that seem more exciting. New car launches no longer generate the same buzz they once did, leaving buyers unimpressed. On top of that, Stellantis has a huge inventory problem. As of March 2024, they had about 1.4 million unsold vehicles just sitting around. That's a massive pile of cars that isn't moving. What's causing this? Part of the issue comes from how Stellantis adjusted production during supply chain problems. At first, they ramped up production to have enough cars in stock. But as demand shifted and sales dropped, they ended up with way too many vehicles. Many of these cars are older models that don't match what today's buyers want, especially in competitive markets like midsize SUVs.
More people than stuff to carry, you're probably looking at a midsize SUV, specifically a midsize 3-row, which has enough room for 6, 7, and even sometimes 8 people.
At the end of the day, it's a mix of bad planning, changing market trends, and not enough support from the company itself. Stellantis is in a tough spot, and unless they make big changes, things could get even worse. Let's break down how Stellantis ended up in this situation. The Stellantis National Dealer Council is raising alarms and placing the blame squarely on CEO Carlos Tavares. Their main complaint? His focus is on short-term decisions, which they say is hurting both market share and dealer profits. This is a big issue for everyone involved. In a letter dated September 10, 2024, the council didn't hold back. They accused Tavares of focusing on quick financial gains instead of long-term growth. While these strategies may have briefly boosted profits, and his paycheck dealers argue they're damaging the company's brand and market position. The council even warned that this approach could lead to disaster, and it seems their fears are already becoming a reality. Dealers are now feeling abandoned as they face mounting challenges without the support they need. The council criticized Stellantis for cutting marketing budgets and changing compensation policies, moves they claim are hurting dealer profits. Because of this, many dealerships are stuck with too many unsold cars sitting on their lots, creating serious financial problems and growing frustration across the network. The consequences are piling up. The council pointed out that Tavares' cost-cutting plans, which were supposed to improve profits, are backfiring. For example, linking dealer pay to the number of vehicles shipped instead of how many are sold is leaving many dealers in a tough spot financially. On top of that,
now to a bold car theft in Marietta. That's where a car dealer says 3 thieves tricked a worker into handing over the keys to a Mercedes-Benz.
Tonight, they're offering a big reward to find out who these guys are.
layoffs and factory closures are adding to concerns about the long-term stability of Stellantis' operations in North America. This situation is causing a ripple effect, with dealers and workers alike feeling the strain. Unless Stellantis rethinks its strategy, these problems could grow even worse in the future. You might be wondering what's happening behind the scenes at Stellantis. They're facing 3 main obstacles, and let's break them down. First, let's talk about their shift away from traditional engines. The engine replacement issue is real. Stellantis introduced the Hurricane twin-turbo inline-6 engine to replace the beloved traditional V8 engines in several models. This new engine promises better fuel economy and lower emissions while maintaining power levels, but it has faced criticism from both dealers and consumers. Many longtime fans of Dodge and Ram, those who love the power and performance of their V8 engines, are skeptical about this switch to turbocharged 6-cylinder engines. They worry that these changes might dampen the driving experience they've come to expect from these iconic brands. Next, let's look at market reception. The Hurricane engine is part of Stellantis' broader plan to boost fuel efficiency and cut carbon emissions. But the acceptance of this change among consumers is still up in the air. Will people embrace the new technology, or will they stick to the nostalgia of roaring V8s? This performance versus efficiency debate is a big concern, especially since competitors are still offering powerful V8 engines. Lastly, there's the issue of ineffective incentive strategies. Stellantis has been slow to ramp up its promotional efforts, leaving dealers at a disadvantage in a tough market. While other automakers are offering more discounts and financing deals to boost sales, Stellantis has been sticking to limited promotional efforts. Many dealers are feeling the financial strain from unsellable inventory stacking up.
When you're thinking about, budgeting a new car in, don't just consider the car payment, but think about all of the other expenses that come along with that.
Sarah Brady is a finance writer and consultant who's written for Kiplinger, Experian, Forbes Advisor, among others.
And they're calling for increased support from Stellantis to help clear out excess stock. Without solid support, there's a real risk that unsold vehicles will continue to pile up, affecting profitability. Rising prices and low sales are also a problem. For example, Jeep saw a 9% drop in sales, and Ram faced a 20% decline. To keep profit margins intact, Stellantis decided to increase vehicle prices. However, this strategy might backfire as higher prices scare away potential buyers, especially in a market where people are tightening their wallets. Consumers are becoming more selective about where they spend their money, and they might not want to pay more for a car that doesn't live up to its promises. Let's take a closer look at the inventory challenges Stellantis is facing. The combination of rising prices and low sales numbers has resulted in a massive buildup of inventory. As of March 2024, Stellantis reported a shocking 1.4 million vehicles sitting in inventory, far more than what's typically expected in the industry. This excess inventory complicates things even further as dealers struggle to sell vehicles that not only risk becoming outdated, but are also priced higher than many shoppers are willing to pay. It's a recipe for disaster that no one wants to see. Can Stellantis pivot quickly enough to regain traction? Or are they steering themselves into a bigger mess? What's your take on this pricing strategy? Now let's break down each of these challenges. Chrysler is navigating some tough waters right now. The significant decline stems from a seriously limited vehicle lineup and mounting challenges in staying competitive in the ever-evolving automotive market. The brand's lineup has shrunk down to just two models, the Chrysler 300 sedan and the Pacifica minivan.
Stellantis is recalling nearly 20,000 plug-in hybrid minivans here in the U.S.
This alarming trend raises major red flags about Chrysler's future viability. First, let's talk about that limited vehicle lineup. The current selection from Chrysler is alarming, consisting solely of the 300 sedan and Pacifica minivan. Seriously, that lack of diversity doesn't just limit consumer choice. It also puts Chrysler at a severe disadvantage against rivals who are offering a much broader range of vehicles. We're talking about the increasingly popular SUVs and crossovers that seem to be taking over the market. The automotive landscape has shifted dramatically, and traditional sedans like the Chrysler 300 are struggling to remain relevant. While the Pacifica still holds its own in the minivan segment, the sales numbers just don't cut it to keep the brand afloat on its own. Now, let's unpack the pricing situation. Chrysler's remaining models are starting to feel overpriced compared to competitors. Take the Pacifica, for instance. While it's well regarded for its family-friendly design and features, many folks are looking at alternatives like the Honda Odyssey and Toyota Sienna, which are often seen as more reasonably priced. This pricing strategy makes it tough for Chrysler to attract budget-conscious consumers who have plenty of other options out there at more affordable price points. On the back end, there's a concerning trend, a dismissal of revitalization suggestions within the company. Reports indicate that attempts to breathe new life into the Chrysler brand have been brushed aside by Stellantis management. This hints at a troubling lack of strategic vision for the road ahead. Industry analysts and insiders are buzzing about various ways to rejuvenate Chrysler's offerings, from jumping into electric vehicles to rolling out new models that align with today's consumer preferences. Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares has stated that brand strategy decisions will revolve around performance metrics instead of emotional attachments to legacy brands. While this pragmatic approach might have its merits, it raises serious concerns over Chrysler's long-term prospects, especially as it competes for resources among a large portfolio that includes multiple brands. What does this mean for Chrysler's competitive edge? The combination of a slim product lineup and high prices is seriously chipping away at its market position in an increasingly crowded automotive marketplace. As consumers lean toward brands that offer more diverse and affordable options, Chrysler risks fading into the background. Looking ahead, the current trajectory suggests that without some substantial changes, Chrysler could face even further declines in both sales and market relevance. Moving forward, analysts are speculating that if Stellantis continues to neglect Chrysler's potential for revitalization, we might see this brand becoming a candidate for discontinuation altogether. Ram trucks, the pricing and model offerings for Ram trucks have become a real conundrum for consumers.
But it does have a starting price of $69,995. It has 7 different exterior color options that are going to be available to choose from, as well as off-road ready tires, the RHO badging.
Especially with the discontinuation of popular models and the rising prices tied to more advanced technological options. Now, let's take a closer look at the current situation regarding Ram truck pricing and what it means for buyers in today's market. Starting with the discontinuation of models, the Ram 1500 Classic has been pulled from the lineup, which is a game changer. This truck was a popular choice for shoppers looking for a reliable pickup without breaking the bank. Now, with this model gone, buyers are facing higher starting prices for the base 2025 Ram 1500, which starts at $42,270. That's an increase from the $4,700 price of the Classic. This shift has taken away a budget-friendly option for those eager to drive off in a new Ram. Let's address the impact on affordability. The absence of the Ram 1500 Classic has raised serious concerns about affordability in the Ram lineup. With new higher starting prices for models and the lack of lower-cost alternatives, budget-conscious consumers are left feeling squeezed. As a result, many potential buyers might start looking at competitor brands that offer more wallet-friendly entry-level models. It's like a domino effect that could drive them away from Ram altogether. Moving on to rising prices for new models, the latest Ram offerings, especially the 2025 Ram 1500, come loaded with fancy tech and features that promise to boost performance and comfort. For example, the introduction of the Hurricane engine family, which includes a twin-turbo inline-6 engine to replace traditional V8s, boasts improved fuel efficiency and powerful output. But the catch is, all this innovation is driving up the price tags across the board. Let's break down the pricing. The cost of various trims for the 2025 Ram 1500 starts around $42,270 for the base tradesman model. But that's just the beginning. High-end trims like the luxurious tungsten model can soar to about $89,700, and the Ram 1500 TRX, an ultimate performance machine, starts at an eye-watering $98,335. That's a lot of cash for a truck dot. How are consumers reacting to all these changes? As prices rise and sales decline, evidenced by a troubling 20% drop in Ram sales,
Ram and the fact that they have completely priced themselves out of their buyer base.
Buyers are feeling the financial pressure. Many are hesitant to spend their money on higher-priced vehicles, especially with economic uncertainties like inflation and rising interest rates looming overhead. This hesitation can significantly dent purchasing decisions, leading prospective buyers to either delay their purchases or look for alternatives that may offer better value. Let's throw some market competition into the mix. While Ram is hiking up its prices, competitors like Ford and Chevrolet are still playing the game smartly, offering their models at enticingly competitive starting prices. For instance, you can snag a Ford F-150 starting at just $38,900. With price tags like that waving in the wind, it's no wonder buyers might be swayed to check out these alternatives instead of sticking with Ram. So, what does this all mean for Ram's pricing strategy? Well, with their vehicles becoming pricier and less affordable options available, they might inadvertently be nudging potential buyers right out the door. This scenario is turning into a numbers game, and losing out on sales can seriously shake up how Ram positions itself in this fiercely competitive market. Regarding the Jeep Wrangler, rising prices combined with the growing availability of used Jeep Wranglers are starting to put Jeep's competitive edge in the market at risk. Let's dig deeper into this evolving landscape. We've got some jaw-dropping price hikes to talk about. In recent months, the cost of new Jeep Wranglers has surged dramatically. Take the 2024 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, for example. Prices for this beast can soar over $85,000 for some configurations. When you start adding in all those sweet features and upgrades, the price nudges close to an eye-watering $100,000. So, what's driving these skyrocketing costs? There are a couple of main factors at play here. First off, the newer models are loaded with advanced technology and features that are all about enhancing performance and safety. Sure, these upgrades make for a better driving experience, but they also jack up the price quite a bit. Then there are market dynamics to consider. The automotive landscape has been dealing with overall price increases due to inflation and ongoing supply chain issues that are affecting production costs. As manufacturers adjust to these economic pressures, it's consumers who ultimately feel the pinch through higher vehicle prices. Now, how are potential buyers reacting to these significant price increases? It turns out that many are starting to question whether spending money on a brand new Wrangler is a justified investment.
Price and the running costs make it hard to justify. But I don't think there are many cars on the market that have quite as much charm and history
At these elevated prices, especially when they can find similar alternatives from competitors that are more budget-friendly. Switching gears, let's talk about the growing appeal of used Jeep Wranglers as cost-effective alternatives. With new Jeep prices spiraling upward, many savvy consumers are exploring the used market as a more attractive option. Prices for used Jeep Wranglers can vary widely. Some older models can be snagged for as low as $3,999, while nearly new versions like the 2021 Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon can go for around $63,900. Plus, the used market is bursting with a variety of trims and configurations, allowing consumers to pick and choose exactly what features matter most to them, whether it's off-road capabilities or everyday usability. Let's not forget the critical financial considerations. Choosing a used Jeep Wrangler can dramatically lighten the financial load for buyers. As prices for new models climb higher, many consumers find that opting for a used vehicle allows them to enjoy similar features and performance without stretching their budgets too thin. What's the impact of all this on Jeep's competitive edge? Rising prices are starting to affect Jeep's position in the automotive marketplace. As potential buyers weigh their options, they might be tempted to check out other brands that offer comparable vehicles at more attractive price points. Competition is heating up, especially with brands like Ford and Toyota stepping up to provide strong alternatives in the SUV game, often at lower starting prices. If Jeep can't effectively tackle the concerns surrounding affordability, they might see a dip in sales that could hurt them in the long run. Lastly, Dodge is facing some challenges these days, grappling with serious issues around its inventory and product strategy. This is causing ripples in its market performance and relationship with dealers. The root of the issue, it's a lot to take in. Just look at the excessive inventory. Dodge has a big problem on its hands. The Dodge Hornet, this little SUV, has turned out to be one of the least popular vehicles on the market. As of June 2024, there was a jaw-dropping 550-day supply of Hornets just sitting on dealer lots, suggesting they're not selling fast.
This is the first new vehicle from Dodge in quite a few years. Dodge has found themselves in a little bit of a tricky situation.
Compounding this issue is the fierce competition in the compact SUV segment. Shoppers have a smorgasbord of alternatives that could offer more value for their money. Looking at market performance, sales figures show a big disconnect. Only around 1,283 units were sold in the last 45 days, clearly indicating there's a significant gap between what Dodge is offering and what consumers want. Dealers are now stuck with a mountain of unsold vehicles, which puts a heavy financial burden on them as they rack up costs just by holding on to inventory that nobody seems eager to buy. On top of all this, Dodge is moving towards electrification. Let's be real, it's a mixed bag of reactions from both consumers and dealers. They've announced plans to replace traditional favorites like the Charger and Challenger with electrified versions like the Dodge Charger, Daytona SRT. While this move aligns with industry trends focused on sustainability, it hasn't exactly won over the loyal fan base that loves those roaring engines. When it comes to consumer sentiment, many die-hard Dodge fans are feeling uneasy about this shift. The power and performance that made these muscle cars legendary just don't translate the same way into these newer electrified models. There's a lingering worry that these changes may not provide the raw thrill and driving experience that enthusiasts have come to expect, leaving them feeling disappointed. Let's not forget about the customer demand for traditional models. Despite clear interest in classic muscle cars, it feels like Dodge's current strategy is completely overlooking this segment. They've discontinued iconic favorites without offering proper replacements, leaving many loyal customers feeling neglected. Dealers are voicing their concerns loud and clear about Dodge's product strategy. They're feeling the pinch, unable to meet customer needs due to a lack of desirable inventory. This disconnect is leading to declining sales and growing dissatisfaction among dealers, who feel like they're juggling a losing game with corporate strategies that just don't resonate with what's happening in the real world of sales and consumer preferences. But what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about the current state of these iconic brands? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.